that you have made. Allah, may Allah accept them. This is what my wish is for all of you in the Ummah. And today, you're listening to Zed on the Real Talk Show. This is the last Sunday we're going to be on. And those of you who are awake, and if you're not awake, you can catch up later. So this will be last Sunday, and maybe Eid is going to be Tuesday or Wednesday, not been fully confirmed. As soon as we find out, we'll let you know. So let's make it a very special Sunday today. All of you, those who are not awake, and if anybody's awake at home, go and wake up the rest in the house and tell them, let's listen in, because we're going to have a fantastic show today. We're going to meet a very, very special guest here, my brother Hussein Mehdi. He's going to come and join us. Hussein, are you with us? Are you wide awake?
Assalamu alaikum, Zaid. I'm with you and never against you.
MashaAllah, that is the way it has to be. Of course, Hussein, how are you this morning?
Alhamdulillah, I wake up early, about 9 o'clock, after sleeping at around 4. So did my yoga as I usually do in the morning. You know me, Zed. I like to get my exercises out first before I can wake up and do interviews like this, heavy style interviews.
Very good, very good. I hope you're fully charged up today, because we have a lot of interesting topics we're going to discuss. All things that affect the Ummah across the globe. So this is the global world, how we live today. Whatever happens globally, it affects us locally. Would you say that's correct, Hussein?
Yes, of course. Yes, we are like a global village, interconnected in humanity above all. You know, one race on earth.
Of course.
And according to us Muslims and many other religions, we are the sons and daughters of Adam and Eve.
And only when we learn that, accept that, we will be able to live together in harmony, in peace, lots of love. Would you agree with that? So we're moving in the right direction if we are thinking that way. But I've seen that incidents that have happened in the last 6 months. Can you believe in the last 6 months in Palestine that has affected every country? Particularly, I'm going to mention one particular lady from Australia. Her video, it went viral on the internet. Did you see that video?
I did see that video. It's heartbreaking. It's encouraging to see that selfless persons from around the globe go out of their way in order to help others in need.
Now she is 83 years old, and her message was that compassionate, caring, do unto others what you would expect to be done to you. And she was absolutely, said she was shocked and she was embarrassed, and it's absolutely wicked what's happening. And she's from the era of the period when the heinous atrocity that was committed in Germany. She's from that period. So her message resonated well with the face of humanity across the globe, and that's why her video went viral. Now, these are the kind of positive messages that take impact upon you and I, Hussein.
Oh, I see. Zed, I thought you were talking about the young lady from Australia who was killed. The aid worker from the World Central Kitchen.
No,
You're talking about some other
no. This was
lady.
an 83-year-old lady. Her name started from M. Margot or something similar. Does not matter what her name was. What matters is her message about that we have to be compassionate, caring, do unto others what we would expect done to ourselves. And she was a Jewish lady, and her message was absolutely very, very strong message for all of us. And it's not only in the period of this Palestine situation, but it's a message for humanity from beginning to the end. And that is the message I want to share with all of you today, that we must exercise that mantra in our everyday lives. And indeed, she was correct in saying that it's shocking, it's embarrassing also, and it's absolutely wicked. So this is a message I quoted, shared with you, because not everybody will have heard that message. Certainly, you did not know this message, did you,
No, I
Hussein?
did not, but I saw one similar, like 75-year-old Jewish lady from London who came to speak at a rally in one, I think it was Camden, I'm not sure. But anyway, she came up to speak and she fell. She fell on the floor and she bloodied her lip, but that did not stop her. And when she started, she composed herself and started talking. Um, she said that this is my third fall today, and I'm not going to stop, and I'm going to talk about the things that I want to talk about. And she did give a very heartening message. I mean, she expressed her opposition to a criminal ideology called Zionism. And she was a Jewish lady. She suffered, and she was clear in her condemnation of this political movement that came up in the middle of the 19th century.
Of course, a lot of research you have to do on that subject, Brother Hussein. Not everyone, certainly the Generation Z and the X, they will not be at all familiar with this because we have transpired now onto a digital world where little is discussed on these particular matters. These are game changers. These are global. It affects globally everyone about this issue, what you've just mentioned. So we need to sort of move on now, Brother Hussein. This kind of topic is not for my expertise or your expertise to discuss. It's best we leave this with others who know about these things. But the bottom line is we have to focus on the rules and basic laws of humanity. If we've got to stick with that, we'll all be good. Because these issues, they're across the globe. They're not going to stop here today or tomorrow, right? But I want to particularly focus on some of the quotes from some of our MPs. Now, I'm going to read this quote to you, and you tell me who was this quote by. That's a little bit of a test for you, Brother Hussein. Yes? It's going to tell me if you were active during the month of Ramadan or you were spending a lot of time sleeping and so on.
I was listening a lot to conversations with James O'Brien and Owen Jones and others. So I'm not sure if I've
of course now I'm going to
say.
I'm going to ask you, and I'm also going to ask our studio if they also know, so we can all get involved. And all of you listening in right now, I want you to tell me who said this. We owe it to them. This is the quote. We owe it to them. Who said that? It's only last week. It's not long ago. It's all over the news. It's all over.
Is there more? Can you say more? Can you add more words?
A tragic shame. Yes. No? Not enough for you?
You called me out there.
I caught you out there. Now, of course, I want you listeners who are listening in right now to send a message in on our WhatsApp number that you have with you. I want you to send us a message and tell us who has sent that quote in the press. And it's all over social media. And if you can share that with me. If not, then I'm going to have to tell you all, bring a bit of education about and share that with you. So, now, going on further, there was another quote in our press recently. It was WCK was called WKD. Who said that? I'm going to ask our studio manager to drop the screen so I can see the numbers, so I can read them out. So drop the screen down, please. Now, WCK, WKD, right? Up until 10 days ago, 90% of the population did not even know what is WCK. Do you know what that is?
I know what WCK stands for, World Central Kitchen.
Very good, very good. You are amongst the 10%. So that's why we call you here on the program, because you know what you're talking about. But we caught you out on that quote. Yes, we owe it to them. So, World Central Kitchen.
It's founded by a Spanish American.
Yes.
Jose Andres.
Andres, yeah, mashallah, he did a good job. Now, WCK, one of the persons who came on a TV interview, he called it WKD, right? Of
What does
course,
that mean?
yeah, WKD. Now, what was his name? This is not a quiz show, but a little bit of background is good for you to have. Even our studio manager here, even he's looking up that quote and trying to find out. And he's getting involved. He wants to be part of this program today, as all of you listening in right now. So what was his name? Who is the one who got it wrong? WCK to WKD? No?
No.
I'll give you his first name, David.
David Cameron.
No.
Seriously.
It was David Mensa, right?
Oh, David Menser, the new Israeli spokesperson.
Yes, and who held him
after Elon Levy left or was sacked.
Exactly, yes. Who held him to account?
He was probably talking to the Channel 4 presenter, was it?
Exactly. Now, let's have his name. Now, come on, all of you, get involved.
Krishnan Guru Murthy.
Murthy, yeah. Krishnan was on top form. You could see the positive energy in him. He was not going to tolerate anything that was not acceptable. He went for him, didn't he? Did you see that interview?
Yeah, he didn't even allow him at the end to spiel out his propaganda. He says, we're not taking your propaganda. And he just cut the interview short at the end.
Of course. And that was something. That was something special. And of course...
I'm surprised that they would not have labeled him as being anti-Semitic for doing that. Maybe he'll be investigated.
Oh, yes, for sure. Okay, that takes me on to the next superstar or personality in politics. Who was the gentleman? What was his name? He was an MP. I'll give you a clue. He's from the Blues Party.
Oh, Alan Duncan.
Of course it was. Now, as you all know, he's under investigation currently from his party, and that is another ongoing matter. So we have to be aware of what's going on, right?
Well, he just said it right. He said that the Conservative Party has been now hijacked by extremists. And, they give us a definition for extremism, but they're the ones who could be accused of that extremism themselves.
We got a brother on the phone now. We'll take this call. Please, Jazakallah khair. Take this call. Put it through, please. Assalamu alaikum, my brother.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Zed. How are you?
Of course, I recognize that voice. How are you? It appears that we only sort of connect during the month of Ramadan, which is...
We do. Unfortunately, circumstances have changed quite badly. So, alhamdulillah, okay, trying to do my best to stay positive, but it's good to hear from you.
Now, how are you? Because I always remember you, and I want us all, obviously, during the month of Ramadan, we have very, very high spirits, and we're on top of our game, all of us. And
of course, special.
We choose this time to engage, and I want now for you to introduce yourself to my listeners.
Okay, so my name is Sajid. I've always been a massive radio Ramadan FM supporter because Brother Zed and the background staff, people like Brother Keel and Mohammed Jusab and the rest of the team do an amazing job, not only in the month of Ramadan, but beyond that. And it's a diverse radio station with tremendous knowledge and background, and gives a lot of people opportunities, which is a really, really good thing. And it's just a pity that not other part of the UK have the same format what we have in Leicester. And people take their own time voluntarily to do what they do. That's why this radio station makes all the difference. And now, before people start saying, "Brother Zed hasn't put a check in the post."
Of course. Now I'm going to say something to Brother Sajid here. He's one of the avid listeners throughout a number of years now. And of course, Brother Sajid, I want to share with you the current situation that we have right now at the radio. We have almost 40 volunteers. Is that correct, our studio manager? 40? Can you confirm that exact number? Because Brother Sajid, he likes to know exact. He doesn't like to do guessworks. He's going to check now, right? And what we do is every year we have to thank them. And how do we thank them, Brother Sajid?
It's basically make dua for them. And it may not. I don't think they're there for their own gain. But I think they make a big difference, as I said.
Of
And
course.
uh,
I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue. What is the speciality of Akil, brother Akil, that you know very well? What does he specialize in?
what can you say? You know, I don't really, you know, due to confidential reasons. But you know, today I'll say it. Brother Akil, you put a plate of food on his table. Alhamdulillah, he'll be happy.
Now, he has laid on for all these volunteers who have supported the radio this year a very special dish. Now, Brother Akil, I'm going to appeal to you to make sure that one is dispatched to Sajid's house in Leicester. Is that a good idea, Sajid?
No problem. Whatever he wants to distribute, inshallah, he'll be accepted with a lot of happiness.
There you are. That's it. He's got your name down. He's got your name down because you're part of our team. All you listeners throughout Leicester, throughout England, throughout the global village, you are part of our team. Brother Sajid, today I have a wonderful guest with me. His name is Hussein Mehdi. And we've been catching him out on some of the happenings in our political sphere this last week. And we've sort of scored 1 point on him. He failed to catch on one of the quotes by the politicians, you know. This is how we have to keep everybody on top of their game, you know. Your knowledge is your power, Brother Sajid. Do you agree?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So you carry on listening in, and then we will talk after the show.
Yeah, no problem, inshallah.
Thank you, Brother Sajid. Thank you for your call.
No problem. Anytime, brother. And just carry on doing what you're doing, because you know what it is. You make all the difference.
Well, that's what I tell everybody, Brother Sajid. Everybody is to be mad. M-A-D. Make a difference.
Make a difference.
Every one of us is empowered to make a difference in some area, some walk of life. And only when you make a difference to another, you have meaning and reason to your existence in this dunya.
Absolutely, Bashar. It's true. Very, very true.
And that is how we have to be always. Look out for each other, always.
And one special message to everyone: just keep remembering our brothers and sisters in Palestine and throughout the world who are suffering with pain and difficulties. Just pray for them, inshallah. May Allah elevate all the problems, and victory will be ours, inshallah.
Inshallah. Let's make du'as that we don't want no more killings anywhere in the world. Not only Palestine,
Absolutely.
but throughout the world. We have to go back to our UK values, which are based upon humanity and human rights. Those are UK values. That is our cultural, that is our traditional values. This is how we are here. We came from Uganda as immigrants. We had the UK citizenship, and we came here. We came with nothing.
Absolutely.
We came with nothing, and we mastered the art of tax paying. We pay a lot of tax. We built our businesses, and we pay a lot of taxes, right? That's also part of our culture, Brother Sajid.
Of course.
So you take care, and myself and Brother Hussein, he's avidly been listening. He's also inspired by your story, by your comments. Brother Hussein, say a salam to Brother Sajid. Are you listening, Brother Hussein?
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Sajid. Thank you very much for calling in and contributing to the program.
No problem. Wa alaikum salam. No problem. Anytime at all. You're doing a great job, mashallah.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair. We'll catch up
Barakallah
later.
fi. Assalamu alaikum.
That's right. Now, we're going to go back to that minister we talked about earlier. Yes? That minister, her name, I'm just going to give you the first letter of her first name is S. And I've also told you that it's a female.
Oh. Are you sure it's an S and she has a nickname of a C also? Is that right?
Yeah, you're getting close. You're getting close, right? Her name is, come on.
Suella Braverman.
Exactly. She's the one who said, we owe it to them. It's a tragic shame, right? That's what she said. So now all of you, I'm giving you some homework to do. Go and research a little bit, and you think that 65 million population of the UK should follow her. Should we follow her, or should we not follow her with what she says, right? A minister, a MP, she's not a minister anymore. She's just a member of parliament, right? She was twice the Home Secretary, I'm told. So
Well, Alan Duncan labeled her as being an extremist, didn't he?
of course he did. Now we're going to move on to the word extremist. The word extremist has been redefined, Brother Hussein. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the new government website. It says here, if you allow me, Zed, it says the new definition provides a stricter characterization that government can use to make sure that extremist organizations and individuals are not being legitimized or given a platform through their interactions with government. And this is what the statement reads. Extremism is the promotion or advancement of an ideology based on violence, hatred, or intolerance that aims to, number one, negate or destroy the fundamental rights and freedoms of others, or number two, undermine, overturn, or replace the UK's system of liberal parliamentary democracy and democratic rights, or number three, intentionally create a permissive environment for others to achieve the results in one or two above. Okay, now I want to ask you, Zed, you asked me questions, but I want to ask you, doesn't Zionism fall under this criteria of extremism? It certainly negates and destroys the fundamental rights and freedoms of others. It uses violence to exterminate people, gross, disproportionate amounts of violence. It uses food as a weapon of war. Can this not this political movement, can it not be described as extremist according to this definition? And it also undermines, overturns, or replaces the UK system of liberal parliamentary democracy. Yeah,
now
because it influences politicians through Israeli friends, through the conservative friends of Israel, Labour friends of Israel. What are they doing? Are they not influencing our parliamentary democracy?
Of course. Now, Brother Hussein, here at Radio Ramadan, it's a very spiritual period of the month, and some of the topics that the list you've gone through, they require discussion on a table with everybody so that we can debate this issue. But here on the radio, we have to be on point with our mission here, is to create...
I'm only expressing my opinion, sir.
Yeah. Now, you and 65 million others have an opinion, but you can see that when you have opinions, you do protest marches, you have other side also who they have opinions, and then you get problems. Right?
But the majority of people in this country, Zed, after seeing what's happening in Gaza, they cannot defend Israel anymore.
Of course, now this
even like conservative members of parliament, like Alan Duncan, have had to speak out. We gotta call out those extremists who are trying to push their own agenda and define others as being extremist. Yeah, it's political. Yes, I understand that. But trying to push a definition in the public discourse, in the media, in political circles, that others are the extremists and they're the good guys, they're the moderates.
Okay, one message.
How can you be a moderate when you're going against the International Court of Justice, who's saying that there's a plausible case of genocide that's taking place in Gaza?
Of course,
and these politicians are not reacting to it. That's why 600 legal people and senior judges, former Supreme Court president, they've come out and written this long 17-page letter to government, because they want to make sure that when the case goes to The Hague, they're not going to be called out as being complicit in genocide. What did you do to speak about this?
Of course, I refer back to the news last week. The AAA. Are you familiar with that, Brother Hussein? AAA? AAA. Even my producer, is he awake? No? AAA? Come on, guys. Wake up, dress up. Come on, step up with your KIP. Your knowledge is power. And your PIK, your power is your knowledge. So come on, guys. AAA is, A is for assisting. The second A is for aiding. And the third A is for abetting. Yes? Does that make sense to you? Now, that is what the lawyers were all talking about, right? So the lawyers, how many lawyers? Come on. A test for all of you
There were
listening in right now.
600.
600.
There were 600 who contributed, who signed this letter. It's not a small number, Zed.
Where
They're
is
highly
a
professional,
where is
senior
where is a
legal
lawyer when you
advisors,
need one? So 600 lawyers signed up to that to say,
lawyers and judges.
yeah, lawyers and judges. What were they basically saying?
Well, basically, that the country or the government, the UK government, has to be very careful, and it could be seen as being complicit in genocide. And they're advising the government what to do. They're telling them that they should. I think one of the conditions is to stop arms sales to Israel. That's the least that they can do.
Now, a lot of messages
But
are
I think they should go further, and they should label Zionism as an extremist ideology, as extremist political movement.
Of course, now that is one opinion from one of our guests, and listeners are throwing in their own opinions. So we here at the radio, we cannot say yes or no to any of these comments. These are purely comments from our listeners, and this is how the world is enraged at the moment. Everyone is absolutely putting forward their opinions right now.
Zed, I just want to make something clear, yeah? Allow me to just expand on this, yeah? Because it might be taken out of context. It's very important. Zionism is not a religion. It's not a racial identity. It's a political movement. So you could have a Christian who's a Zionist. You can have a Muslim who's a Zionist. You can have a Jew who's a Zionist. You can have an atheist, agnostic, or even a Hindu. It has nothing to do with religion, yeah? And Jews throughout history have been opposed to Zionism. All you have to do is go and research that. Zionism did not start with Jews. It was a political movement that started in the middle of the 19th century, long before Theodor Herzl was even born.
Of course, nobody will even know who is Theodor Herzl, so there's a lot of homework for all of you to do. Do this homework and educate yourselves, because sometimes incidents have to happen in the world for us to wake up to realize what is.
It's a colonialist political movement, Zed. That's what it boils down to.
So now we're going to move on. So the messages, I'm going to go through some of the messages, right, and share them with you and all the listeners. One of the messages is saying it's all about the land grab and ethnic cleansing, right? Another message is saying is this can only happen if there is resource to be extracted. The killing of human beings is irrelevant, right? Resource takes precedent over, doesn't matter how many is killed. This is the kind of message.
Commercial interests. That means commercial interests.
Resource. Commercial
and
interests.
who is in charge of those commercial interests? It's like the big capitalist guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, this is the way the system is. So ethnic cleansing is something that in the nature of human beings that we have to absolutely condemn. It's not right. It's not good for anywhere in the world to go through that. So another message here, which is a very strong message, says that does it have to take Western aid workers, 7 of them, to be killed before the world wakes up, right? Before Joe Biden's engine takes off. This is a strong
Come on, Zed. Joe Biden has not done anything. I'd like to assure your listener that Joe Biden is only so far given us a lot of hot air. He signed off $18 billion to send F-35 airplanes. He signed off money to send 2,000-pound bombs. Remember, 2,000-pound bombs, the heaviest bombs you could get. And where they're throwing them? They're throwing them on residential buildings. I mean, Russia and its war in Ukraine have so far only been using 500, maybe 1,000, maximum 1,500 on the Ukrainian military, not on residential buildings. And yet Joe Biden signs off 2,000-pound bombs to be dropped on residential quarters. So each of these bombs is destroying complete residential blocks.
So another message here, our government is spending billions in Ukraine, arming, aiding and abetting, and this is absolutely not acceptable, because this money could be spent here with our health service. An appointment at a doctor's can take 3 weeks. And this is the kind of messages that people are sending in, that spend your money in your own country and make it better for our public out there. So this is a very strong comment, isn't it? That money we are spending across the globe, arming and aiding and abetting, and this is where the word complicit kicks in, Brother Hussein. What do you say about that?
Yeah, Zed, I was driving with a friend of mine yesterday into Leeds to go and visit a brother, a neighbor who's in hospital, been in hospital for a few months. And the roads in Leeds are atrocious. The number of potholes that we've had to avoid, it was like being like in Africa. Seriously, it's just so bad. I don't know what Leeds City Council or Highways is doing. They should be ashamed of themselves. The number of potholes. They don't have the money to spend, and yet they have money to spend on wars, endless wars. For whose benefit?
Now, you are saying, talking about potholes in Africa, we have the biggest potholes known to mankind. There's a Premier League of the African countries who have potholes. And which country has the best designed pothole, which starts with a little hole and then it becomes like a river, right? And only a truck can navigate that. If you're in a car and you get into that pothole, then you're going to get like top prize for having the best pothole in the whole of continent of Africa. So are you saying that you also want to join that Premier League in your city, in England? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure about being in the Premier League, but certainly at least in the first division, I'd say.
Okay, first division. Now, what I'd like you to do is you take a picture of that pothole and you send it to me, right? And I'm going to see.
The problem is it's not just one. The whole road is full of potholes.
Now, this road, you need to highlight this road so we can speak to the local council there and get this matter addressed, because it will not be good for our country to be entering that Premier League of pothole countries. Yes?
It's so unfortunate, Zed. It's just, I mean, I see things are just not, this country seems not to be able, the government has not been able to spend money, taxpayers' money, for the benefit of people. They're spending taxpayers' money on project wars. That's all they spend it on. Most of it is going there.
Well, I was in
they're
one African...
ready to spend on project wars, but they're not ready to spend on the health service, not ready to spend on highways. It's ridiculous.
Well, I was in Africa, in one of the countries, I won't say the name, and I met up with some guys taking pictures, and I asked them, what are you doing? He says, we are the pothole police. We photograph potholes across the country, and then we expose them. And this pothole is probably the winner this year. We've never seen a pothole. It was like very long pothole. It was a long one. And they do this kind of work. So they expose the potholes, and maybe you need to do that as well. You could set up a brigade of pothole investigators.
Volunteer photographers, yeah. I'm not sure. You can take the photographs and you can send it to the council, but it takes them months before they would even...
They managed to put together a system where every city was competing, and they were put to account. And he said that if we don't do this, these potholes will not get fixed, right? So Pothole City of the Year 2024 is exactly, who's the first, who's second, who's third. And the one who's first is going to get a lot of stick for potholes. Now, we're going to get back to our program, right? Because a lot of messages are coming in. This pothole issue has taken away 5 minutes of our program. So we're going to talk about how many independents across the country are standing for the next election, which no one knows when it's going to be, right? I can feel Keir Starmer is just waiting there for this election to be announced next week, because he was announced as in the polls to have 400 seats, which is called a landslide victory in election terms, Brother Hussein. How many?
Yeah, I think Labour appears to be on the road to winning the next election. The Conservative Party is just in complete disarray. You see, many Muslims are conservative in nature. They traditionally have been voting Labour, but still, a lot of Muslims also have conservative values. You got to remember that. So we're not like hard and fast, associated politically to one party or the other. So, but after the issue with Gaza, I think not only Muslims, but a lot of decent people who are not just concerned about the economy. And actually, the people who are concerned about the economy, Gaza is also an issue for them because the money that goes to go and spend on wars and to justify murder in other countries could be spent here in this country for the benefit of the people of this country, rather than for the benefit of the few who have shares in those defense industries or other sort of beneficiaries of war.
So you are in the
So,
Yorkshire part of England. How many independents have you seen there historically and right now
well,
in Yorkshire?
it's like everywhere else in the country where there is, especially where there is like a Muslim majority, a lot of the Labour councillors now have resigned from the parliamentary party because they just want to be able to speak their mind on issues of importance to them, local as well as international. And international issues also affect the local issues, as I've just explained. So many are now will be standing as independents, and it's going to be a very challenging and interesting election this year to see how many of those independents actually win and come to power. I think there will be a significant number this year in the elections, both local and the the general election. I think there'll be a significant number of independents, either on council seats or in parliament.
Of course, this is what we call in the election business a protest vote. There is a growing anger across the globe and across England, across all the different parts of the population on this particular issue. So we are in the midst of a man-made famine. There has been resolution after resolution, and all we are doing is just talking. And it's sad, Brother Hussein.
We're just like giving time for the Israelis to kill more people, for the
Yeah.
Israeli government, the extremist Zionist Israeli government, to kill thousands and thousands more people.
Okay, we must not only talk about the Israelis. We have an issue with the Russians and the Ukrainians, and we have issues going on in other parts of the world. All over, people will not even be aware that there is an Ecuador, Mexico conflict that has just kicked off, and this conflict is up to 10 places in the world at any one time. There's conflict going on where the simple rules of humanity are just not on the table. It seems if somebody is speaking the truth, he gets caught up into this. If somebody is telling a lie, he advances with the lies. Why? Why is it that every point there is propaganda, and it's the enemy of truth is what? What is the enemy of truth, Brother Hussein?
Oh, well, honesty, I mean, being dishonest is the issue that we're discussing here. Thinking that commercial interests are above moral values. That it doesn't matter how many people die as long as some people advance their economic and commercial interests. Unfortunately, this has been the case during the colonial era and the post-colonial era. We've not really shifted so far from the colonial era. And it's not just Western Europe, but in general, that have been involved in colonial era. In the past, the Muslim empire was also involved in colonialism. So when you call out colonialism, you got to call it for what it is. So also, our Muslim leaders in the past were involved in colonialism. They were only interested in land grab, for the benefits of the rulers themselves. So to be honest with you, you got to look at things objectively. You can't just, say, oh, the Western world has been involved in colonialism, and Muslims have been good, nice people throughout their history. We got to differentiate between Muslim history and and Islam.
It's a
That's
fair
very,
point.
very
It's a
important.
fair point. This goes on to show to all of you that it's a issue with humanity, where different caste, color, creeds, religions, cultures, traditions are battling amongst themselves. Now, a message that has come in right now, it says that who created a monster? In the name of democracy, is it right to do killing, land grab, illegal settlements, and occupation? Right? Is that the sign of democracy, Brother Hussein? There are historic
Well, you see,
injustices.
it's actually a myth. It is a myth to say that Israel is democracy. Israel is an apartheid state.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're going to move
you
on
gotta
from
call
that.
it for what it is.
We we
They
we
wanna they
we
want us to
we
believe
here,
that
and
it's a democracy.
I must emphasize now to all the listeners right now, these are opinions of one individual. As you sitting at home have also got an opinion, but the radio does not have an opinion such as that, which the brother has emphasized, right? So we are here to listen, to pass on knowledge to you, what we read in the press, what's going on around us, and share with you all. Because I don't want to lose my job, Brother Hussein, right?
I know, I know. I'm
Unless
just
you're gonna
expressing my opinion, of course.
unless you're gonna give
Yes.
me a job, and my producer here, he doesn't want to lose his job. Do you want to lose your job? No, he says no, he doesn't want to lose his job. So we have to be balanced. This is what radio is all about, to create that balance, you know. Otherwise, the seesaw goes one way, and to bring it back the other way, we'll have a problem, right? And so
Well,
on.
I mean, it's not my opinion that Israel is an apartheid state. Not just my opinion. It's
Now,
the opinion
this
of
I will
Human
say,
Rights Watch,
I will say to
Amnesty
all the
International,
listeners
Bet
that
Salem.
we have historic injustices across the globe, right? Historic injustices are across the globe: the killing, the land grab, the illegal settlements, the occupation. That is something that to be looked at. That is not democracy, and this is what the message is very clear on. And another message saying, "Well done, Krishnan." That refers back to the earlier discussion about our Channel 4 newscaster, journalist. Yes? Right? And another listener is saying that please bring to attention to all our listeners to listen to the speech by the Malaysian Prime Minister. I'm going to put my brother Hussein in the dock to ask him what is the name of the Malaysian Prime Minister. You know, this is what I like to
Is
do.
that
Is,
question for me, Zed?
yes, it's a question to you and to all the listeners, because when these political analysts come on the program, you need to find a question to put them in the dock to test their KIP. So what is the name of the Malaysian Prime Minister?
Isn't he the one who was imprisoned by the former Prime Minister of Malaysia,
What is his
Anwar
name?
Ibrahim?
Mashallah, he's got me there.
MashaAllah.
He's got me there for sure. And that is true. So all of you at home, did you know the answer? Did you know the answer at all? Or were you pressing and guessing? Now, most people, what they do is they hit the Google button and they want to put that in there and they want to answer it like that. But
Yeah, he was talking very forcibly and very sort of like eloquently about the issue. And he was saying, you know, we're not going to be intimidated, more or less. I mean, I'm paraphrasing what he was saying. We're not going to be intimidated into calling out things as what they should be called out to be.
now,
And
brothers
we
and
will
sisters,
speak
we have
our
got
mind.
1 minute left of the program. And from my side, I'm going to say that let us all bring back the UK culture, the UK values, which are based upon humanity and human rights. That is what we are known for across the globe. Brother Hussein, if you'd like to say
I
a
agree
few
with you. And
words.
also paying taxes. Don't forget that.
Of course, yeah. Not forgetting paying taxes. That's all part of UK culture. So, Brother Hussein, last few words before we close the program.
I would like to wish everyone listening happy Ramadan, end of Ramadan, and wish them happy Eid, and hope that this dark cloud that's being cast over humanity will be removed very soon. And
MashaAllah.
I'm
MashaAllah,
very
brothers and
optimistic.
sisters, you are listening to Real Talk with Zed and Brother Hussein, guest today. And I want to tell you all that we'll be here on DAB and we'll be here on podcasts across the rest of the year, right? So please do join. Jazakallah khair and Eid Mubarak to you all. I won't see you again till next year.